Welcome to Rom Wills, Money Matters. Lonely single men and the economy. Now, there's been some news really since August about the number of single young men out here, and indeed you can expand that to other ages. They single with no relationship, and they definitely lonely. And many people have been talking about like uprisings and how dangerous they can be, but there's a few people who talking about the effect of these single young men, or single men, let's just say single men, because ultimately they're all ages, and the economy. They're talking about it because you think about something. The thing that really gets an economy going is people spending money. People spending money, creating something. Now, think about a single young man especially. They're single. They're lonely. What do? A lot of them don't move out. Now, let me give a scenario with the typical. Of course, there's always some nuances and everything, but I say trend, the general profile. You see a single young man living at home, living with their parents still. Or even if they get a place, they might get a place, but generally they not spending a lot of money, right? And they just stay to themselves. Now somebody say, well, yeah, they just be to themselves. It's like, wait, hold up. They not as engaged in the economy because they don't have to spend as much money. I want y'all to think about that, because think about it. How is this affecting the economy? All right, if they stay in home, especially, they're not getting an apartment. They're not getting their own place. So, all right, so that's affecting the rental market. You might have these 1 bedrooms and you got some young guys and they not getting them. I have a good friend has her apartment, the apartment next to her has been sitting empty for a few months. And even where she lived, I noticed there was another apartment emptied out and there were some guys living in there. Because if a guy, he might even have the money, but what's he going to spend it on? He's going to spend it on himself. Now, those industries, video game industries or whatever you want to spend it on, sometimes the sex industry, okay, they going to make money, but then a lot of other people aren't. Because let's take this further. All right, so they staying at home. They not spending it on an apartment. They not spending it on a house. In many cases. Like I said, there's some exceptions, of course. So they not doing that. Boom. If they still staying at home or something, they not spending as much on food. They not spending as much on food because their parents can get the food. Now they might add to it, contribute, but not as much as if they were on their own. So that's affecting that industry. And if they're single and lonely, not going out, they might not put as much money into clothes. And then they're not putting it into a major part of the economy, which is actually dating creates a lot of money in the economy. You're talking about these fancy restaurants. You're talking about gifts. And indeed, if you're looking at relationships and you take it further to marriage, much of the jewelry industry. How much of the jewelry industry is based on a man getting some shiny rocks for a woman? And I'm serious, you gotta start thinking about this. And then let's take it further. They're not getting married especially. They're not getting married. So if they get married, well, they gotta get a place to stay. Of course, right? Typically, they will want a house if they're married. All right, you're not getting a house. One house by itself generates a lot, okay? You gotta get water, just the utilities, water, electricity, or gas. So that's affecting that industry. And then you gotta furnish the house. One house, you gotta furnish it. You gotta get the blinds. You know, you gotta get the furniture. Those affecting those industries. People, is not as many people buying furniture or buying like the little knickknacks around the house, and definitely the food. Definitely the food. Pots and pans, plates, cups. I was like, wait a minute. You know, vacuums, the vacuum, like cleaning materials. It's like, oh man. And then personal care stuff. I mean, you know, towels for the different bathrooms. I mean, it's so many little things. I'm seriously, just as an aside, go through your home, your apartment or your home. Walk through and think about everything you had to spend money on. Everything you had to spend money on. Even if you gotta watch, you guys a house or an apartment with a washer and dryer, washer and dryer, appliances. It's like, wait a minute. But if a single young man don't need all of that, and just, you know, a good basement to stay in, guess what he's going to do? Guess how that's affecting more. See, the thing is, and then you're talking about a family, you're talking about children. You got whole industries around children. You got whole industries. I mean, you know, like at a local Macy's. I'll give them a shout out. I usually don't, but at a local Macy's, I found out Macy's in general, they've partnered with Toys R Us, which had gone out of business. So they got some space in there. But think about it. The fact that Toys R Us isn't a major store anymore means there's not as many children. Like the toy industry, stuff for children, clothes for the children, stuff for babies, baby clothes, everything for them, toys, everything that gets affected because those single young men they ain't fathering children. Boom. Oh, medical industry. You got to take care of those kids. You got whole, doctors and stuff. Oh, wait, those kids aren't being created. Oh man, there's so many things. And then of course that affects a local school system. If you got a particular school system, school district, and there's a dearth of children there, some teachers might not be making any money. Or the teachers got to find something else. You don't need as many teachers. You can combine the classes better. All of a sudden, oh, wait a minute. But hold up, how to pay them anyway, that affects the tax base of any particular area. That affects the tax base. If you got some young men around, they're not spending as much money, or people are not spending as much money, then yeah, they go and pay some taxes, but any jurisdiction, their main payments come from sales taxes and everything. The businesses in the area. See, businesses actually keep up the government. People say, oh, go work. I remember coming up, they would say, go work for the government. But if a local government doesn't have as much tax revenue, they got to cut back on stuff. They got to cut back on jobs. Oh, wait a minute. That's affecting jobs like fixing the road, the police forces. Oh, wow. See, understand one basic thing. The economy is ultimately based on demographics. There's not enough talk. There's only a few economists who will point that out. It's not a machine, because people have to spend money. But if you don't have as many people, or the people that's around don't have to spend as much money, because one thing, the single young men, they're not, like I said, maybe on some video games or something, maybe on some sex workers, they still want some sex. But overall, they don't have to spend as much money. A single man, I'm gonna tell you what, a single man, even if he get his own apartment, if he know he ain't entertaining, he could just get, literally, he can just get a bed in there. A bed, a table, and like a good chair. If he thinking, well, you know what, I ain't getting anybody anyway. So that's affected a lot. I want y'all to seriously sit back and think about that. Think about it. Because I don't care what it is in the economy. You need people to spend money. But if they don't have incentive, to get that nice house, maybe don't have incentive to get that flashy car, or to buy those jewelries. Because like at my local mall, I noticed, I remember the days you had nothing but jewelry stores. Now at my local mall, there used to be like 4 jewelry stores. Now there's 1. Now there's one. Oh, wait. Most of the jewelry is a man buying jewelry for the woman. I want y'all to think about it. Sit back and follow the connect the dots, all right? So anyway, that's all I have for now. But yeah, whatever the case, y'all still want to make that money. So let's go make that money.